So the big question is this. How entrepreneurs like us who have been breaking with old beliefs, like the idea of holding a 9-to-5 job and living paycheck to paycheck, taking a lifetime to reach business and life success as the only option we have? How do we grow our business in a way that lets us highly service our customers, getting our products and services and the things that we believe in out into the world without diluting our life but enhancing it and taking the journey of internal and external growth? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. Your host is Marina Simon, and welcome to 10 Exit. Life and business as usual? Never again.
Hi guys, I am so happy to be here with you today. I haven't been for a couple of days. And I was looking, for whatever reason, comparing some good executives, from big companies and some other executives, or even good leaders or executives from small businesses and just the rest of them, right? What makes a good executive, right? What makes one more competent than another? So I know, the majority of you are entrepreneurs, and you as an entrepreneur, you start by yourself, but then you build a team and you become an executive, right? So what is an executive? It is someone who is important, who gets more pay, who has authority. Well, maybe, right? Perhaps. But these are not the real reasons that this post exists for. The most successful executives can personally do more work than other people. Have you seen this? Have you seen people that can just tackle so much amount of work, and there's people that maybe move slower and they're not as capable of creating or handling a lot of work? They end up at the top of the company because they can handle so much more work. Their output quite usually is very large. And sometimes it's often necessary, but that isn't the reason either, right? So let's see the definition of the word executive, all right? So it is derived from the word executor, which means a person who gets something done and produced. Executor, somebody who gets things done and they get them produced. The word comes from the Latin ex, which means completely, and sequi, which means to follow. Therefore, it means to follow completely, right? To follow through to the end. In other words, to get something done, right? To get things done. In any business or production organization, its prosperity depends upon getting things done. Look at what you do, at your own business, at your own creations. Really, the successful of your position, the successful of your own business or endeavor, right, depends on you getting things done or getting others to get those things done as well, right, when you're running a team. Doesn't matter where you are. If it's a chiropractor office, right, the doctor normally has an office manager to run the office, which gets things done, is the executor, because sometimes doctors act as also executives, and that's where, kind of like it gets a little bit mishmash because they're different positions in the organization. The doctor normally handles production, right? And the executive runs the people in the organization. So sometimes you happen to be the same person, but normally they will hire an office manager to run the organization. However, they get things done, correct? They get the secretary or the person that is checking in patients to get it done, or the person that is, on checkout to get it done, right? To smoothly get in this case, the patient through the lines and with great service, and then that the payment is completed at the end. And that you make sure that you have a returning patient, correct? So basically, an executive gets things done. The executive is there to ensure that the people produce what they're supposed to produce in viable quantity and quality with no defective products, right? Look at the different positions. Let's see. I mean, it can be in any area, truly, because it's very similar, the organization of different businesses. You have a restaurant, right? You have the person who takes care of the client as soon as they arrive, right? That person, it will be like your check-in in a doctor's office, right? So that person is supposed to produce in a viable quantity and quality. She's not going to be grumpy with the client that wants to come in and eat, right? She's going to be very nice, very pleasant, very communicative, very social, right? And quantity is not going to be overwhelmed because there's two people. She needs to move fast in order to take care of a good quantity of clients. The same way when, they sit them down, right? And then the same way cooking in the kitchen, it has to be a viable quantity and quality. Viable, that can be lasted for a long time, that has life, that is not going to die. Like your business, if it's not viable, that makes it not making money, can't live forever, right? It's going to crash. It's going to go bankrupt if it's not producing income or delivering service for your clients. So basically, the executive is there to ensure that the people, the team of that group produces what they're supposed to produce. Like the person who is in charge of checking is not going to do, the adjustments for the patient. She is going to check in, and the person that is checking out might be the same person. She knows how to check in and check out, but she's not going to be giving massages, or the massage therapy is not going to check out people, right? Sometimes you have what is called an elastic team, that they know how to do several things, but of course the technical parts, like the person will not know how to do massages if she's a secretary, right? So the executive is there to ensure that the people produce what are supposed to produce, and enough quantity and quality, right? With no bad products. If you adjust a patient and is still in pain, or is not fixed but is in a worse condition, well, the executive is not as well executive as it should, right? And that is why an executive is there, and that is what he's supposed to do, right? So that is the simplicity of what an executive does, and the importance of your own position, as the person who's starting a business, who has already a business, is like you are in charge of getting things done. If you're creating a team, you are in charge of making sure that each teammate is produced what it's supposed to produce, and in viable quantities and qualities, in order to get your business to thrive and be able, at the end of the day, guys, it's about servicing your ideal customer, right? So I'm just trying to see if I cover, the most important parts of this. Well, there's a little bit more here. A worker-oriented executive. So there's two kinds of executive, right? There's an executive that has the idea of it needs to protect the business, the group, in order to thrive. But there's also some people that are worker-oriented, right? Is trying to be liked by not requiring work from his organization. Have you seen those kind of people? Sometimes they're, they have a little bit different viewpoint or character. They're not strong enough, and they want to be liked by everybody. But guess what? The one that is wanted to like by everybody is your worst executive, guys. Because your executive is there to get things done. And sometimes people might not be okay with that, right? And you need to still get things done. What is he actually accomplishing? If he's just trying to be liked by everybody, right? He is lowering their living standards. He is pushing them into poverty, because guess what? If the group doesn't make it, they're not going to have a job. If he keeps on failing to persuade them to produce, he will kill them off, right? He's not pushing them to just get the product done. It categorizes, as not a good way of operating. Right? So an executive is not the person who wants to be liked by everybody. It's a person who really is there to get people to produce. Now, there are penalties connected to getting people to produce, right? Sometimes they're green and unhatted, right? They don't know what to do, and need somebody there to show them how to do it, right? they're often kind of like bewildered and they don't understand certain things, right? So then the person tries to get them there and to get something done. But if one thinks that by taking it easy on staff, he will make points, right? You're going to be liked, you're going to be popular. An executive is very mistaken. Not only mistaken, but very mistaken. Usually such an executive is actually despised. People at the end don't like people like that. They want to be running a tight group, right? Morale gets done with production. Production is the basis of morale. So somebody who's just trying to be liked is not going to get the job done. Down deep, the staff knows what he should be doing with them. And if he, having the title, does not do it, they see him as fake, right? He's not really running them. It is interesting that staff respects competent executives who get the job done. They respect the one that makes them work and they trust him. I don't know. Remember Steve Jobs, right? He wasn't easy. If you read a little bit about him, he wasn't easy because he was tough. He had high standards. He made people work. But I tell you what, people were very proud of their products. They changed the civilization the way it is, right? So an executive who's just trying to be liked really is not your guy, guys. And if you are the head of your company, if you are the head of your new endeavor, that's not your purpose. Your purpose is to service your ideal client, and sometimes it takes production and discipline. It is not hard to detect a happy, cheerful organization. Their production are up. And it's not hard to detect executives who are not making their groups produce. There's lots of conflict and trouble in the place, and their production is down. Their statistics are down. Management looks everywhere for executives who can get their groups to really produce. And oddly enough, so do the groups as well. If you don't believe it, try it.
Thanks for joining us today on 10 Exit. Life and business as usual? Never again. We love always hearing from you. Please feel free to send Marina an email, marina@marinasimonbrand.com. Your input and comments are always welcome, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you like the podcast, you can always subscribe to it. Remember, the best way to predict the future is to create it.